Hi everyone, welcome to Redbus TS channel. In this video, we look at the recent bill that was introduced in the Congress by a senator, which is creating a lot of buzz in the Indian media and everything. So, in this video, we'll actually look at the reality of it, what it actually means and all of that, and what is the chances for actually becoming a law. So that's what we will cover. So this is what we will cover in this video. A host of things that we'll cover. If you want to subscribe to our channel, do subscribe for getting regular updates. So let's get started. In terms of what is the buzz, right? If you see on the screen, this is basically the coverage from Indian media, right? Like from Hindu, Times of India, all of these. So this came about a couple of days ago, right? As you can see, there's a lot of buzz around it, telling that, oh, the H1B program is going to end, and people are confused and all of that. So we'll see what is the reality of this, where it stands, and what it actually means. Yeah. So that's the reason we're doing this video. So to set the context, what is the bill? So the bill is introduced in the House. It's called HR 8443, and the name of it is called End H1B Visa Abuse Act of 2026. So this was introduced by House Rep Eli Crane from Arizona, Republican from Arizona, right? This is basically from a screenshot from his website where he's basically made a press release on the same. So there are about 7 Republican sponsors who introduced this. So currently referred to the House Judiciary Committee, and it's an all-Republican bill. Essentially, only one party is supporting it, and there is no Senate companion bill at this time. So this is a high level of what is happening with that. So again, this is just an additional of the sponsors. So there are total 8 House members supporting it out of 435. So you can see the strength of it, very, very less, right? So that is the key point of this for you to get an idea. And again, the provisions in the bill are really like, I don't know how to describe it. It's crazy. So these are what are part of it, right? So the first, they're asking for a 3-year pause in the issuance of H1B visas. The annual cap reduced from 65,000 to 25,000, and then lottery replaced wage-based selection, which is already there. Minimum wage for H1B to be $200,000. No multiple H1B jobs. This is the concurrent H1B they're talking about, and no third-party placements. Employers must certify there is no qualified American. That they have to sign that part. OPT will be eliminated. No dependents of an H4 will be allowed. Nobody adjustment of status to green card is not allowed. Basically, you can't get a green card to become an H1B, and federal agencies can't sponsor non-immigrants, and you must depart, and you can't really do change of status, right? You must basically depart. So these are like really, really, like, I don't know, crazy provisions that are part of the bill, right? So this is not like a small change. So these are really tectonic in terms of the kind of changes they want to do. So again, most of the times these are really like done to grab attention. So that's what it is. So let's look at the reality of what the numbers say, right? And what is the most concerning reforms of this are the pause of H1B visas, the OPT program, and you can't get a green card, and the 200,000 wage, and no H1B dependents, and no third party placement. So these are some really, really big ones that are going to have a tremendous impact if it really ever makes it. So we'll look at that odds of if it's going to make it or not in the next sections. But this is what is going to be this is what is most concerning for the current H1B holders, or prospect rather, I would say, prospect H1B applicants, or somebody who's an F1 visa trying to get an H1B visa, right? So this is the biggest concern why there is so much of coverage of all of these things, right? Now, what is the political context for creating such a crazy bill? Is basically, H1B visa has been all over the news. People have been like, citizens have been policing, trying to knock somebody's door. So there's a lot of things happening around this, right? There is overall political mood is slightly different. Right now there is a lot of H1B fraud cases that have been uncovered, and it's also election year. So and there's been a lot of tech left. So all of these combined, right, basically, are creating some of the senators or congressmen to act on this, right? And so that's why this is probably the strongest H1B bill that has ever been introduced in Congress. So at least on paper, right? So that's what it is. So these are reasons why I think the most important one, last one, is election year messaging, right? I think that is one of the key things that are playing out as well. And now that we understood what the bill is, right, let's look at the reality, because that is what will define if we really need to spend time on understanding the bill and all of that, right? So this is from our website, the process. So we'll put a link in the description how the bill becomes a law. So essentially, how it happens is a bill is introduced by somebody, and then it goes to committees, subcommittees, and then it goes to hearings, and then the voting happens in the committee. If it passes that, then it comes to the House calendar, and then it goes to debate. Then there is a voting, and after that it's engrossed, and then again the whole process repeats in the Senate as well. And then if there are any mismatches in both of them, then they have to reconcile, and the whole process repeats. That's called conference committee. Now, while this looks very simple on paper, this is actually one of the most complex processes, and many of them do not make it. We look at the actual numbers, how many really make it, but many bills die in this committee, subcommittee stage itself. And some die after they come out of the committee because they never get to place on the House calendar. And sometimes they die after they come here. They don't have, they get to die in the Senate because, you need to, in Senate, there's a concept of a filibuster. So if there is not more than 60, if you need at least 60% of them to be voting in favor of it. If not, it never makes it, because just one person can just hold the entire thing, and they can put clauses that are not even related to this, right? So again, there is not even an equivalent bill in the Senate. So usually there is sometimes both of the time a bill is introduced in both places, and then they reconcile and all of that. So this is a very complex process. The odds of getting through this for a bill like this is kind of like basically zero chances. But let's look at the numbers in a minute, right? So this, for you to get an understanding, we'll put a link so you can read in detail, right? So what you see on the screen is the history of the bills that were introduced in Congress in the last 5 Congress sessions. So these are hard numbers, right? We're not trying to so you can see in the recent 119, there were 15,000 basically bills that were introduced, right? And before that, there were 19,000, 17,000. So just think of the scale and the volume of the number of bills introduced. Anybody can introduce a bill. If you are a senator, 435 people or whatever that number there are there, all of them can introduce a bill. So there is nobody needed to be you. You can just be the sponsor. You just need a bunch of your people to support it, or you don't need support also. You can just introduce a bill. So of this, you can see there are only 2%, 3% that are being passed. Some in the past had slightly higher, but we look at that in detail, right? But you can see in the last few years, basically, literally, it's less than 2%, right? So that's what the reality looks like. And now, if you look at the actual numbers from the historical numbers, if you look at 1980, since 1987, only about 2.4% of the bills introduced in Congress ever becomes a law. Now, let's look at the reality of the current bill that's out there. So there are only 8 House sponsors. You need 218 to pass in the House. Very, very less support, right? And there are 0 Democratic sponsors. It should be usually bipartisan to get the support. And something in immigration is currently a big debated topic. So it's kind of not easy to get everybody to the poll. And this is an election year. Nobody wants to put their neck out and do something that's going to be this big, impacting a lot of people. And there is no companion bill in the Senate. Tech Industry Business Group will lobby very hard against it, because the impact it will have on the entire tech industry is going to be tremendous. So they'll lobby hard. Again, universities are impacted hugely. If there is no OPT, imagine nobody would come there, right? And imagine that after that, no, your dependents cannot come. So that's also huge. So there are hundreds of red flags on this, not literally, everything is a red flag, that's the way what I mean. I'm currently sitting in the Judiciary Committee. Basically, most of the bills go there, and basically they die there. So very low chances of them to pass in the current form. Even if it makes it all the way through House, it will die in Senate. So that's the reality, right? So all in all, where we stand today is it's introduced in the House, and that is the only thing done. And it's a committee review, and it's pending, right? And House floor to vote, House floor debates have to happen. There's a lot of process that is, we're currently in step number 1. It is just, I would say the bill is fundamentally like to get some attention. They need a lot of support for this to pass. So the odds of really this passing are literally 0. That is what I mean to say. So the key takeaway is, the end of H1B Visa Abuse Act, which is HR 8443, which is introduced by Rep, Crane of Arizona, is basically it's going to die very soon. It's not going to really make it because of the way it stands today. I really don't want to get into the details of the bill, because it's basically not even relevant, because the kind of things that are in there are so huge. People may not even look at it. Some of the big changes there, 3-year pause, and 200 minimum wage, and H1B cap cut to 25,000, end of OPT, no H4, no adjustment of status of green card, all of these, right? And the odds of this passing are literally, typical bill is 2.4, but for this is close to 0. So basically, it's sitting in the House Judiciary Committee, and it'll likely die there, right? So again, the whole idea of this video is for you to get an understanding of that, the reality check of these bills. So you will see more of these bills, introduced by somebody, So reality always is, when there is a lot of support, over 200 people supporting it, and it's something that's really genuinely like trying to solve a problem or address fraud, that may push go forward, but these kind of ones that are like big red flags around it, because it's going to impact so many universities, companies, and all of that. So it's never going to make it. So that's it, folks. Do subscribe to our channel for getting regular updates. Thank you for watching.